President Mnangagwa to officially open the 57th Assembly of the SADC Parliamentary Forum tomorrow.
In our This and That feature tonight, visually impaired Magunje man finds peace in playing his improvised guitar.
And in our Science and Technology feature, Bindura University of Science Education ventures into cell phone production.
And in our sports buzz, Dynamos and Highlanders match fails to live up to its billing after a goalless draw in a Casa Laga Premier Soccer League match.
Those were our headlines. We now give you the news in detail. President Emmerson Mnangagwa will officially open the 57th Assembly of the SADC Parliamentary Forum in Victoria Falls this Monday. The SADC Parliamentary Forum is a high-level gathering of regional legislators which brings together over 300 delegates, including speakers and members of parliament from the Southern African Development Community region and development partners. The assembly is being held under the theme Harnessing Artificial Intelligence for Effective and Efficient Parliamentary Processes in the SADC region, Experiences, Challenges and Opportunities. President Mnangagwa's address is expected to strengthen the country's position and commitment to harnessing digital transformation as a tool to promote regional integration. The key objectives of the assembly will examine how artificial intelligence can improve parliamentary efficiency as well as engagement with the public.
And now in our next report, Zimbabwe's readiness to host the 15th conference of the party's COP15 to the Ramsar Convention of Wetlands has received high praise from the head of the convention secretary, Dr. Musonda Mumba, who cited strong political will and leadership at the highest levels of government. Let's get more on that report.
Following a closed-door meeting with Vice President General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga on the sidelines of the International Conference on Glaciers currently underway in Dushanbe, Tajikistan, Ramsar Convention on Wetlands Secretary General Dr. Musonda Mumba expressed confidence in Zimbabwe's commitment to wetland conservation and environmental diplomacy. The Ramsar Convention, an intergovernmental treaty focused on the conservation and sustainable use of wetlands, will hold its COP15 summit in Victoria Falls from July 23 to 31. The summit is expected to attract delegations from across the globe, including heads of state, scientists, and environmental leaders.
In just a few weeks, from the 23rd to the 31st of July, the world is coming to Vic Falls. So it's an absolutely exciting moment, but I also had an opportunity to brief him, to let him know that we are stand ready as the Secretariat, as I'm the head of the Secretariat in Switzerland. We stand ready to support Zimbabwe and to continue supporting Zimbabwe. We've seen incredible leadership from His Excellency President Mnangagwa. Firstly, he is the current president of SADC, and very recently there was the meeting in Kaza, of the shared water region, and I understand that that program, thanks to the leadership of Zimbabwe, has now also been funded by a donor. And also there's a lot of conversations demonstrating some work, particularly around the restoration of wetlands, the work around wetlands, and the amplification of why wetlands matter. And by the way, people also have to be aware that Zimbabwe has its first ever wetland accredited city. And thanks to the political leadership as well, we have Vic Falls as a wetland accredited city.
Echoing similar sentiments, Zimbabwe's Minister of Environment, Climate and Wildlife, Dr. Evelyn Hlofu, confirmed that preparations for COP15 are in full swing.
We are very ready to host the COP15 conference, which is expecting quite a big delegation from various countries, delegations from various countries. We have a committee which is in place already, which is working on the modalities of both funding and organizational work on site at the Victoria Falls. We have already secured accommodation and the space for the conference.
As the world prepares to converge in Victoria Falls next month, Zimbabwe is positioning for a successful COP15 meeting that will steer global conversation towards preservation of natural ecosystems. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Dushanbe.
Environmental experts say a multi-sector approach is needed to advance greater conservation impact for the benefit of people and nature, as well as addressing the human-life conflict, sustainable development and biodiversity conservation.
At the just concluded Southern African Development Committee Transfrontier Conservation Areas Conference and Summit, the International Fund for Animal Welfare (IFO) launched the Free Room to Roam initiative, a management system linked to greater participation by communities.
We are also using science, so we are collaring, for example, elephants because of the nature, how they move around, to understand their movements. So we've collared elephants and daily monitoring how they are moving and using the landscape so as to define further the connectivity between the landscape.
When you think of Kazi, you think of elephants. There's 230,000 elephants in that landscape. 50% of Africa's elephants are right here. They should be our milk cows that we should be using, and using those as a way of trying to finance basically operations in the landscape, protected areas and communities.
Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority Director International Conservation, Professor Patience Gandiwa, highlighted the significance of giving elephants room to roam, saying they cannot be marooned on conservation islands.
Zimbabwe is one of the leading countries in terms of shaping the future, to say where are we looking at? What can we expect 25 years on now, beyond 25 years? What is the narrative and what are the key milestones that we are now looking at, unlocking the potential of our biodiversity economy?
This initiative aims to safeguard elephant populations and involve local communities in more sustainable natural resource governance and management practices across multiple interconnected ecosystems. The Kavango Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation holds over 220,000 elephants, which is more than half of Africa's savanna elephants. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Harare.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, has lauded the role women play in national development, describing them as the backbone of communities and pillars of economic and social transformation.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, has reaffirmed the commitment to supporting government initiatives aimed at breaking down barriers and fostering a conducive environment for women to thrive in business. In a speech read on her behalf by the Minister of Defense, Honorable Opamchinguri Kashiri, at the second edition of the Unrecognized Women and Men in Business Luncheon and Awards held in Harare this Saturday, the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, highlighted the critical role women play in economic development.
Many of you have built empires from kitchen tables, transformed passion into profits with limited resources, and navigated complex markets with absolute grit and determination. You are the backbone of our communities, the unsung heroes who create jobs, uplift families, and contribute significantly to the gross domestic product of our beloved country, Zimbabwe. The invaluable contributions of women in business remind us that empowering women is not just a necessity, but a catalyst for inclusive economic development.
Dr. Mnangagwa also implored the attendees to embrace a balanced work-family relationship.
Let us avoid being consumed by the desire to grow profits and neglect our important role of money in nurturing our families. Our modern children are experimental and prone to many social ills, which include drug and substance abuse. The threat is non-selective, impacting both wealthy and poor households.
A passionate champion of women's empowerment, Dr. Mnangagwa continues to lead by example through her philanthropic work and hands-on outreach programs uplifting women across Zimbabwe. In a complementary move, Dr. Mnangagwa launched the Big 5 Empowerment Package in 2024, a rural development blueprint anchored in 5 economic pillars. The pillars include horticulture, livestock production, poultry farming, aquaculture, and beekeeping, which are providing communities with start-up resources, skills training, and market linkages to stimulate local enterprise. Event organizer Mrs. Primrose January and Nigerian entrepreneur and social influencer Ms. Eni Edibia echoed the First Lady's sentiments, emphasizing the need to motivate women to fully contribute to national development.
Ndakarealize kuti business rirambe richienderera mberi panoda chinhu chinonzi recognition, and that's when I also thought of the idea to recognize the Zimbabwean men and women who are doing very well for our economy but never been recognized.
The awards ceremony saw several individuals being awarded for their contributions to economic development and their inspirational roles in society.
To other young women like myself, I want to tell you that the sky is not the limit. The sky is only the beginning. Believe in yourself.
Munhu wese, regardless yekuti anobva ku Nigeria, Angola or India, nationality haisi kwaanobva, nationality is humanity. Saka munhu ka mutore semunhu.
Research indicates that 56% of small to medium enterprises in Zimbabwe are women-owned, contributing approximately 60% of the country's GDP. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
Preparations for the 2025 edition of the Atlas Convention, to be held in Victoria Falls in August, are gaining momentum as business targets to utilize the platform to promote networking and synergies for growth. Organizers, who include the Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce, are convinced that the event will also be key in driving Zimbabwe's economic development initiatives.
We expect this event to drive the whole agenda to the convention in 2025 this year, August in Vic Falls, where we are looking at the issue of prosperity and investment. I think following the coming on board of Trump administration, there is no other time Africa is under threat in terms of both foreign direct investment and even official development assistance to different economies, especially fragile economies within sub-Saharan Africa. When such a platform will give room to players within the private sector using the Atlas Convention model so that they deliberate on matters which affect the private sector while this promoting the business case of investing in Africa.
Legislators have been challenged to actively contribute to agricultural production through effective use of land as a measure to drive national development.
A recent field day in Mudzi West highlighted the need for enhanced food security, which directly influences government allocations for vital projects. ZANU-PF Chief Whip Comrade Pupureto Garepi called on legislators to work closely with their communities to ensure efficient resource use and achieve national development goals.
We are representatives of the people. We have to complement government efforts. And if we interact with our societies and encourage them to use the resources that are availed by government, we will see development in all our areas. I'm so proud that we have MPs like him, and I hope every MP who will see this program will emulate what Honorable Comrade Kaiteno is doing.
Among the top 90 performing farmers was Mudzi West legislator Honorable Knowledge Kaitano, who emphasized the importance of adapting to evolving climatic demands.
It's so encouraging that in such a season where the rainfall started really late, we managed to have a number of farmers who farmed specifically the small grain crops. And as you might have seen, there were so many displays. Every ward of the 7 wards managed to display several crops from their fields.
We are promoting a proper matching of a crop to ecological region so that at least we are growing crops which performs to their maximum potential, matching the ecological region. Because it's pointless to pick a crop from a high potential area and put in the low potential area.
The platform brought together government officials, ZANU-PF representatives, agencies and seed producers, all focusing on aligning efforts with government's vision for food security and sustainable development.
In a tragic story, a 39-year-old man was mauled to death by a pit bull in New Bluffhill, Harare this weekend, an incident that has shocked and angered residents in the low-density suburb.
A shocking incident that reads like a horror movie, the tragic death of Samuel Machara to a pit bull attack, has angered residents in New Bluffville who are failing to contain the incident. Residents suspect the vicious dog, which woke up with visible blood stains on its mouth this Sunday morning, could have skipped its owner's perimeter wall, which is barely standard enough to contain the aggressive dogs. They noted they had approached the owner of the brutal dogs, notorious for their aggression, but their concerns had been met with spite.
Malocal residents vazhinji community yese yanga ichichema nenyaya yekuti dziri kungojamba zichibuda kunze zichijamba zichibuda kupamba pana juro asi pone chengetwa dzimba imbwa dziri very dangerous. Saka vazhinji vanhu vari kuchema zvakanyanyisa nokurasikirwa kwataita ende vazhinji they are not happy about it at all.
Tingadai takaita action nokasika inini panapo nditori a survivor panyaya yembwa iyo waiti hombe pitbull. Ndakaita face to face nayo kudai ndine vana nchibva unochera mvura. Ndakangoscreama Jesus kusvika ya10 ikaenda. Hatina kumboziva kuti tichasvika pakadai so.
Samuel's aunt Agnes Kubenda expressed the family's deep sorrow, adding they are heartbroken by the brutal loss.
Uyu komana ashaika ndiba munini wangu. Munini naye murume wangu. Paradzana kwangu naye ndakaparadzana naye 10:30 manheru. 10:30 to 11 ndongwadza ndakaparadzana naye ari pamba. Saka ndazodaidzwa ndamuka kusena 6 ndatenderera pamba handinaumuona ndadzokera hangu mumba ndazodaidzwa nemukomana wepa next anogara pa opposite achiti uyai pane munhu wekumba kwenyanga rumwa nembwa.
The owner of the vicious dogs refused to comment, but the police are now seized with this issue.
It said in the first place that a life has been lost where a family person was mauled to death by pit bulls which were being kept by a suspect, and these pit bulls, there were no safeguard, there were no security measures which were put in place to make sure that they don't overstray. The laws are very clear. No one should own pit bulls without the necessary clearance in terms of the country's laws.
The latest incidents adds to the growing number of deaths of people mauled to death by pit bulls after a case reported early this year of a Sunningdale man killed by his own pit bulls. Patience Nyagato, SABC News, Harare.
4 people have been arrested in Harare of illegal possession of over 40 pieces of ivory. The Zimbabwe Republic Police has confirmed the arrest of 4 suspects who were nabbed in Krambon, Harare this Sunday after attempting to sell the ivory for approximately 4,000 United States dollars.
The Zimbabwe Republic Police confirms the arrest of 4 suspects in connection with the illegal possession of ivory worth US $4,290, and this ivory it was weighing 237 kgs, which these suspects were offering to the public. In actual fact, they were advertising, looking for customers. In the process, the police got information, and then it tracked these suspects in Sunningdale and the Braeside area, leading to their arrest. And they were also using a vehicle where some of the ivory was being kept. We want to warn members of the public, we want to warn criminal elements that the law will take its course without fear or favor on anyone who will be found engaged in trafficking and offering wildlife products to the public or to any other person who does not have a license to be trading in such products. So definitely there is no going back in the fight against wildlife trafficking in the country.
And with that story, we now cross over to our Montrose studios where Marilyn is on standby. Good evening, Marilyn.
Natasha. And now in our following report, government and civil society have joined hands to denounce early child marriages which continue to affect young girls with a vow to completely eradicate the vice.
Community, civil society and government leaders convened in Nyamandlo of Matabele North this weekend to reinforce the message against the vice of early marriages, which continue to be a millstone for the country. Running under the theme, No to Child Marriages and No to Early Pregnancies, the campaign brought to the fore the critical role played by parents to safeguard against early marriages.
Parents, let's allow the chicks to become hens. Let's allow our children to see life in stages. There's a right time to get married, and that is when they've finished their education and now understand what they want in life. It is our responsibility as parents to guide and offer discipline to our children, both boys and girls. We have to teach them the right and wrong behaviors to protect their futures. I today echo the words of our mother, Amai Auxilia Mnangagwa, who recently in Mashingo challenged girls to abstain from sexual activity.
Abantwana laba yiyo kusasa yeZimbabwe. Yilo ikusasa lethu anti. So sicela abadala li protect abantwana laba.
ZANU-PF Secretary General Dr. Obed Mpofu noted, ending early marriages among girls is a top priority for the Second Republic.
So we are creating an awareness, and I was quite happy with the attendance of the parents as well as the children, where this message was just being really propagated in line with what Her Excellency and even our President has spoken against child abuse.
The Marriage Act, signed in 2022, is one of the standing laws enacted by government to end the scourge of early marriage, with collective action through collaborating with civil society, also working to ensure that no girl is married off before their time. Lisa Corridas, ZBC News.
Meanwhile, the National AIDS Council has red-flagged Zwishavane as a new HIV and AIDS infection hotspot, with calls for traditional leaders to take a leading role in awareness campaigns against the spread of the scourge in communities.
The latest statistics from the National AIDS Council NAC see the Shavane mining town replacing Shurugi mining town, which now occupies second position, with Mberengwa Road District Council occupying third position. Kwekwe District remains with the highest HIV and AIDS infections, followed by Gweru, while Gogo South is the third largest infections in the province. The National AIDS Council NAC says despite several gains made in dealing with new infections, the mining communities remain troublesome.
Research tells us that 4 in every people living with HIV, they have a condition, either cancer, or they have high blood pressure, or they have diabetes, which again will actually be compromised in terms of their immunity. So hence the need to have the chiefs here to give them the information so that they teach their communities.
Traditional leaders say there's need for a paradigm shift in the way people behave in societies as a way to deal with the scourge.
Vakomana vashoma vane chirwere iye zvino varobata chirwere vasikana vari kuwanza vati vana vasikana varobatwa nemadhara vanhu vakuru.
Dai mukaimaita chikoro chacho chemavala iwawo ekudzivirirazvo vana vechikoro neikonzero imwe yokuti ukamuudza mwana hai woda kuti undiite kuti ndive murume wako here, saka pamachapa unobhoka nababa.
Ndizafundisa abantu laba ikakhulu abagebha igolide laba yibe ngibabona bebangela imkhuhlane nalo ukuthi ungapheli ngokuphangisa, ngoba bayazuza imali, bangazuza imali sebesiye ebantwaneni abancane sebelanda abantwana besikolo.
Government says provision of good health remains a key priority.
This Indaba comprehends HIV and AIDS programming approach encompassing issues of non-communicable diseases, drug and substance abuse, disaster preparedness, learner safeguarding, and gender-based violence resonates with the Second Republic's National Health Strategy, which focuses on strengthening the health service delivery system, providing equitable and affordable quality services in pursuit of an upper middle income status.
The HIV and AIDS prevalence rate in the country has dropped from around 13% in 2019 to 11% in 2023 as the Second Republic adopted a cocktail of measures to deal with the pandemic in recent years. Tafara Chikumira, SADC News, Kwekwe.
Communities in Dombo area of Showrogi North constituency are headed for huge relief on the back of the construction of a bridge which connects their area to Showrogi town, Mvuma and Lalapanzi.
The construction of the bridge has brought relief to the local community after an unbearable rainy season where crossing Joringo River was a daily nightmare. The bridge, which is expected to be complete by next month, will also reduce transport costs and the number of children who are missing school due to flooded rivers.
Transport pana inyaya yokuti bridge redu harifambi saka nhasi ndofunga tasvika pachinhano chokuti nzvimbo yedu yakusumuka nokuti road igateway to Harare.
Chinhu chakatinakira tiri kusangana nematambudziko ekuti kana pakaita nhamo mota hadziwani kunyatsofamba zvakanaka panenge pachitoita dambudziko nevarwere kuti vayambuke vachienda kuzvipatara vanga vachitambudzika saka ichi chinhu chakatinakira zvikuru.
Ibridge iri ndo rinolinga chikoro Nyamakare inova sekondari iyo yemuno munhengerekere mwati 15 saka dzimwe nguva vakuru vezvikoro havakwanisi kusvika pachikoro.
Showrogi North Legislator Honorable Joseph Mpasi, who handed over construction materials, expressed the confidence that the bridge will foster economic development in the area.
Kuno kuti kufamba nedonzo rekuti kuti vone kuti mabridge agadzirwa. Kune nzvimbo dzanga dzisingachafambiki idzo dzakanga dzichifambika kubva kare. Dzatiri kunzi nemutungamiriri wenyika ikoko ndokwamoda kuti ndoda kuti musvike ndosaka tauya pano kuti bridge rigadzirwe.
Infrastructure development remains central to the development agenda of the Second Republic as espoused by the National Development Strategy 1. Karejushe, ZBC News, Showrogi.
ZANU-PF Matabeleland South provincial members thronged Nkankezi Business Centre this Saturday to drum up support for its Insiza North by-election candidate.
As the Insiza North constituents by-election race heats up, the ruling ZANU-PF party is not leaving anything to chance, with party members rallying behind its candidate, Comrade Delani Moyom. Addressing members who braved the chilly weather this Saturday, ZANU-PF Matabeleland South Vice Chairperson Comrade Albert Ngurube called on party supporters to come in numbers to ensure they retain the seat.
Ngiyakwazi ukuthi iparty ngoba is very democratic yathi yentanina ama-primary elections likhethe limfunayo ngamangala ukuthi abantu beyinsiza langena uyi-9 or 10 or 11 lalibaningi angithi lonke lalifuna ngoma-MPs kuyavunyelwa lokhwana kuyalelwa yedemocracy kodwa phela kumele kube nomuntu one mhlaka-14 kumele simkhethe angithi ongudelani so kathesi nasi siyovota mhlaka-14 asakhangeli ukuthi ngudelani kumbe ngungulube sikhangela ukuthi sivotela umuntu we-ZANU-PF.
Ngicela ukuthi nxa sisuka lapha sibe kwazi ukuthi omnye lamunye ungumtshumayeli ukuthi mhla ka-14 June siyavotela i-ZANU-PF sivotela uDelani Moyo.
The Insiza North constituents fell vacant following the death of Comrade Faraita Rubinga in March this year. Comrade Delani Moyo will battle it out with his Apu Stabani Mlocha, Mr. Mbongeni Moyo of the Zimbabwe National Revival Party, and an independent candidate, Mr. Leslie Dube. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Insiza.
A Bulawayo-based visually impaired electrician has captivated many with his skill and living proof that disability is not inability.
Life, this is a new try. Ngiyakwazi ngoba ithambo leli njani libhoswe ngendlela yokuthi nxa ngiconnecta vele even endlini umuntu ehamba econnecta.
Jack Moyo is Kajupaki's sensation. That is because he holds a special skill that is a marvel for many. Moyo is visually impaired, but he fixes electrical appliances with so much precision.
Isaithami ngiluze ngo-2014 and 2014 kunabo siyayibo December November kunabo because already vele ngase mbona lihleliwa lele right leli lalivele selifile Nxa ngisesibhedlela yikho kukhanya kwehlo lami selifile. Kodwa hayi ngangibambanisa kunjalo lapho bekusasebenzeka futhi ingaze ngibe total. Then things ba total. Bangithembile abanye abaningi kade ngibenzela kuhle lo msebenzi.
Trading as Samajegi and Sons, Moyo has made a name for himself in his community as he has demonstrated that it is possible to excel in his trade with the right support and determination.
Ngangangaka mina ngisilenda mina. So umzimba lo umkhabanyana lo ngithole ngazi imali yezitofu. Yikho ngithole khona umsebenzi. Yikho kungincede kakhulu. Ngize ngafa ku-2 rooms laphana. Kwaba yi-4 rooms. Kungincedile kakhulu sibili. Angeke ngisole.
To retain maximum trust from his clients, Moyo has trained his children and grandchildren who are his eyes in carrying out the electrical repairs.
Ukhulise ngifundise kuningi kakhulu uma silungisa isitofu because ama-customer uma ebuya okokuqala first rule siqala si-check ukuthi yonke into ekushotayo lapha esitofini yikuyini. After that mawuthi isitofu sathola ukuthi asitshisi total siyasirecoila.
While color blindness can present challenges, Moyo navigates this challenge through positioning of the wire as well as its texture.
Laphana vele ngisabona ngangikwazi ukuthi zona intambo zesitofu zime njani. Ivini zingaze zibe ngemva kwesitofu. Ngabe lesa sijubhe kuhle. Ngabe sikhonethwe kuhle. Benza kutshengisa ukuthi live le ngisukelayo ngiyefika lapha enika khona umlilo eswitchini. Ngizothatha element neutral yayithatha yodwa izofika ngabo element. Ibox leli ngemuva edle ocontact khona phana i-connector lokho zende. Yikho engiqalisela khona ngiyakwazi le 1 2 3 4 le nyangapha le nyangapha 1 bese kucina ngapha nge8 ngikwazi nje ngengqondo njengokuthi ngabamba inamba zomuntu ngekhanda.
The community is impressed and can only marvel at the ingenuity of the electrician.
Ubaba uMoyo umakhelana wethu. Sihlezi laye kuhle. Njalo kuyathabisa ngabantu abakhe laba lo omunye umfanyana ngumzukulu wakhe. Nje ngokungaboni kwakhe kulabanye abantu abakhe abantwana abakhulu abayihlala ngale. Uyababiza njalo bazomncedisa esitofini.
While being an electrician requires good eye coordination, Moyo leverages on his hand coordination to overcome his visual impairment as an electrician. And this has garnered a lot of admiration and praise from his community. Lisa Corrida, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Samajegi right there, proving that disability is definitely not inability. What is so interesting about this story is that he's not keeping the skill to himself, but definitely imparting his knowledge to his grandchildren. If that is not generational wealth, I don't know what is. And on that note, Sunday edition takes a break. We will be back with the team from Pocket Hill Studios in Harare.
Are you a dynamic and enterprising woman running a small business? Whether you're involved in horticulture, fashion design, visual arts, confectionery, the beauty industry, catering and food services, event decor, poultry farming, goat projects, cross-border trading, or small-scale retailing, this is your moment. Join us from the 6th to the 8th of June at Harare Gardens for the inaugural Women's Market Galore. Showcase your business at this groundbreaking event hosted by Empowerment Champion, the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa. Admission is free and you are all invited to come. For registration and inquiries, please contact 0719 527 703 or 0778 858-056. Please note that this program will be extended to all provinces across the country on dates to be announced. Empowering women means empowering the nation. Don't miss this opportunity to shine.
Steelmate Investments, your friend in steel, is Zimbabwe's leading supplier of premier quality steel and roofing sheets. We also have a big flat bars, EN range, razor wire, galvanized wire, cranked ridges, expanded metal, and many more products in stock that you might require for any construction projects that you might be embarking on. You can visit us at our Glen Eagles branch, which is at stand number 706 Glen Eagles Road in Harare, or call us on 0787 001 643 up to 6. You can visit our Affirmative branch at number 346 Affirmative Way in Willowvale. You can call us on 0788 930 556 up to 61. We also have branches in Bare at gate number 8 CSO at Magaba, which you can call on 0782 408 415. Our other Bare branch is the Discount Steel branch, which is at number 1 Easterman's Place in Magaba as well. You can call that branch on 0736 439 999. Steelmate Investments, your friend in steel.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, mental health often carries silence, stigma and misunderstanding, but sometimes it also hides extraordinary talent. In our This and That feature tonight, we share the story of a Magunje man who has found peace and company in playing his improvised guitar.
Mental health continues to be one of the most misunderstood conditions within our communities. Often those battling with it are dismissed, stigmatized and even feared. But behind every condition is a person, sometimes a gifted one. This is the story of a 21-year-old Magunje man, Arnold Zerevairi, who is battling mental health but he has found a way to cope up with his condition by playing his makeshift guitar, especially while heading his mother's care home. His instrument is not perfect, but it gives him peace and a purpose.
Ndinotora gita rangu kumba ndebereka kuseri ngobva ndatina mombe dzangu ndipo ndatanga kuchirowa ndiri musango.
Arnold occasionally plays his guitar with a group of friends, and this has given his mother Gogo Jenny Zerumbavi comfort as the instrument unleashed his strong character and resilience.
Akati kumasowe andogona kuendawo futi kupi kuma gitari yake yaya. Munguva vanhu vanotombomupasawo zvimagitari pamwe otomugadzirira omupasa kuti achitambisa izvozvo. Ndezvaaingoitawo svika nawo angoendawo nabi yake odiwo ofamba nawo oti ngatidai.
Arnold's conduct and love for his guitar amuses his local community against a popular misbelief associated with mental health.
Nyango akafunga kuti ada kuenda uku luzhani ngari ngori nacho.
Zvamufane gitari rake anoshandisa. Chinhu chekuti achinyatsobudisa sound yakanaka. Asi akaona gitari rakanaka chese anoridzwa nevamwe vane mbiri anokwanisa kubudisa sound sezvazviri.
Ndoona wakatonyanya ukama waone gitari. Kuzi makatowandira gitari moyo unenge watofara.
In a world quick to label and slow to listen, Arnold's story serves as a simple lesson that peace can be found in every misconception and that every life, no matter the struggle, carries a song worth listening to. Chamuka Charakupa, ZPC News, Magunje.
The Bandura University of Science Education is planning to launch a cell phone, tablet and laptop manufacturing factory named Palpo Technologies. In our Science and Tech feature, Mashonaland Central Bureau Chief Tapiwa Machemedze explores the gadgets that will be produced.
Bindura University of Science Education, Buse, understood the assignment to propel Zimbabwe into a middle-class society by 2030, and there is no better strategy that they could have adopted in that endeavor than imitate tech giants like Samsung and Huawei, who propelled the growth of Asian tigers through manufacturing.
As we know, Zimbabwe has vast minerals. Among them is lithium and other precious metals. So our aim and target as the university, the Innovation Hub, and also as PAUPO is to substitute and have at least 60% of the things produced here in Zimbabwe, starting with our batteries, utilizing and enriching our lithium, which we have an abundance of. And as we move on, some things like the housing and other metal components, we aim that they start being produced here in Zimbabwe. This will help us to lower our import bill and also help us in value addition and other things.
Leveraging on artificial intelligence, PAUPO technologies will be preloaded with homemade educational software which can translate complex lessons into local languages for easier understanding.
We have a focus on the educational sector. We've developed Cognicraft, which is an educational application. As you see, Cognicraft comes with various educational material, basic A-level, computing, ICT, primary, elementary, among other things. A student is failing to understand and want an explanation, they can summon Titus, which then help by explaining in the language and preferences that they would have set. So in this case, Titus is set to Shona, and for a primary school student, as you see now, Titus is explaining using the set language, in this case Shona.
With building of the superstructure for the modern factory complete and recruitment of 30 factory workers in progress, what remains is for the assembly plant to be installed this month. PAUPO, a French word which means to touch gently, is evidence that Buse's Innovation Hub has provided a soft entry for the university into the technology arena. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Bindura.
And with that story, we take a break. Stay with us.
ZBC Current Affairs. Thriving for excellence and perfection in setting the agenda, shaping the Zimbabwean story and sustaining the narrative through detailed analysis and discussions, bringing to you polished live coverage of national events. We are ZBC Current Affairs, delivering to you the national budget, live parliamentary debates, independence, Heroes Day and Defense Forces events. We bring you insightful documentaries, special programs, and thought-provoking debates. ZBC Current Affairs. We are definitely Zimbabwean, telling an accurate, balanced, and unfettered Zimbabwean story.
Zim Digital set-top box decoders with all the 7 local television channels and 6 national radio stations are now available for sale. The decoder will give you viewers access to ZBC News, ZBC TV, ZBC Drive TV, 3K TV, Kiona TV, NR TV, and ZTN Prime. No subscription is needed as all the channels are free to view. For $25 United States or the ZIG equivalent, the decoder comes with a cable plus indoor and outdoor antenna. The decoders are available at the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe bars, Transmedia, and all the TV broadcasters.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now give you the sports update. The much-hyped Battle of Zimbabwe football match between Dynamos and Highlanders failed to live up to its billing as the two teams played to a goalless draw in a Castle Lager Premier Soccer League match 14 encounter at Rufaro Stadium this Sunday.
The much-anticipated battle of Zimbabwe failed to produce a winner as the Dynamos and Highlanders attack appeared too weak to break the goal line. The two giants of the local premiership failed to find the back of the net as their scoring problems continue, playing out to a goalless draw in the hyped match at the ceremonial home of football. Dynamos were restricted to defensive duties for the majority of the match, as Highlanders surged forward on occasions but could not bury the ball in the back of the net. Having shared the points in the encounter, Dynamos still languish in the relegation zone on 11 points, having picked up just a single victory in 14 matches. Despite dropping in a new technical team, Dynamos are finding it difficult to produce results as their new head coach, Socha Minuka, has only picked up 2 points in 3 matches. The Glamour Boys, who's in the face of goal, are continuing, having scored just 4 goals in 14 matches so far this season. Meanwhile, the point for Highlanders against their long-standing rivals will act as a confidence booster to revive a fading campaign after suffering 2 defeats in succession and picking just a single point in the last 3 matches prior to the battle. At Butter Stadium, Koko United surrendered a first-half lead as they were held to a 1-0 draw by Green Fuel to round up matchday 14. Reynold Guarati, ZBC News.
Chapungu Queens shot to the top of the Zimbabwe Women's Soccer League table with an emphatic win over recently promoted Mpopoma Sports Academy in a match played at the Chiefs Village in Bulawayo this weekend.
Chapungu Queens proved their mettle as they claimed bragging rights in the Zimbabwe Women Premier Soccer League with a 3-0 drubbing of New Girls Mpopoma Sports Academy this weekend. Having asserted themselves well in the 4 rounds of games they have played so far, Mpopoma Sports Academy made a bitter pill to swallow after losing to a high-flying Chapungu Queens. Mposa head coach Ivan Sineta conceded defeat to the better side.
Yeah, Ash, it's our first lose and it came at a wrong time when we had not been training, so we in fact not playing. So it was a tough game. We conceded softy goals though. Back to the drawing board.
Chapungu Queens have done well in the past 3 seasons, and club secretary Talent Chisaka says they want to keep pace with the big guns this season.
It's good that we've won this crucial away game, and especially considering the fact that it was almost like a derby because there were 5 players from our club who were playing with us last season, and then they are here. So it was actually an intense match, but this win means a lot to us, and it's another 3 points on the road. Looking at the projections that we had, it's a bit different from last season, because where we were last season we were a bit down, but now we are on top of the low.
In other matches, defending champions the Rentals Queens thrashed Black Mambas 5-0, while Black Rhinos had a 10-0 victory over Red Buffaloes. After yesterday matches, the race for the Premier League is now a 5-horse race involving Chapungu Queens, Platinum Royals, Rentals Queens, Black Rhinos Queens, and Correctional Queens. Ntokozi Dube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Has started preparations for the Namibian Desert Storm International Development Championship to be held in Walvis Bay next month.
The national kickboxing team is looking ahead with optimism for better outcomes at the Namibian Desert Storm International Development Championship set for next month. As the initial step in the team-building process, the Zimbabwe Kickboxing Association, ZIKA, held a kickboxing tournament at Alan Wilson School in Harare this Saturday to assess the technical ability of kickboxers across different age groups.
We are hosting a tournament. It's for team selection for the teams which are going to participate in upcoming tournaments like Namibia Desert Storm, in other tournaments. So we are just trying to see which fighters are eligible and best to go and represent the country.
In 2024, renowned kickboxer Isaac Mhlanga represented Zimbabwe alongside Royal Dengezi at the Desert Storm 5, with Mhlanga clinching silver in a fiery battle. This year, Mhlanga eyes even better as he is grooming his 11-year-old son, Ronald, to become the next kickboxing sensation in not just Zimbabwe, but the world. The Namibian Desert Storm International Development Championship 2025 edition is slated for Walvis Bay on the 11th of next month and is expected to draw over 60 fighters from 9 different countries to participate. Reynaud Ngwarati, ZBC News.
We now take a short break. Stay with us.
ZBC Current Affairs, thriving for excellence and perfection in setting the agenda, shaping the Zimbabwean story and sustaining the narrative through detailed analysis and discussions, bringing to you polished live coverage of national events. We are ZBC Current Affairs, delivering to you the national budget, live parliamentary debates, independence, Heroes Day and Defense Forces events. We bring you insightful documentaries, special programs, and thought-provoking debates. ZBC Current Affairs. We are definitely Zimbabwean, telling an accurate, balanced, and unfettered Zimbabwean story.
Get ready. All in one place. Introducing the new Zim Digital Decoder, so you can enjoy more in full HD for free without monthly subscriptions. You can now get to enjoy Zimbabwe's best and new TV and radio channels on the Zim Digital Decoder countrywide. All you need to do is purchase your Zim Digital Decoder for $25 or ZiG equivalent. This is a once-off payment for the decoder, no monthly subscriptions. Hurry and get your Zim Digital Decoder at Transmedia Offices, Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe, Kingstones, Ground Floor, Harare, and all TV broadcasters. Zim Digital, Tirimotese, Sonke Skon.
And in our Showbiz segment tonight, we've got our video of the week titled Tariro by Gemma, featuring Feli Nandi.
Zimbabwe.
All eyes were on the glamorous Miss World contest this Saturday held in India, where Zimbabwe's own Courtney Jongwe made the nation proud. She earned a place in the prestigious top 40, capturing global attention with elegance and undeniable charm.
There they are, your top 10 for the continent of Africa.
Back home, Mbari played host to the much-anticipated European Film Festival, drawing film lovers and creatives alike to a vibrant 3-day showcase. The opening night dazzled with an electric performance by Othniel Mangoma and Mary Annabelle, whose collaborative act set the tone for a weekend full of cinematic exploration and cultural exchange. Meanwhile, in celebration of empowerment, Delroy Shewe left guests captivated at the second edition of the Unrecognized Women in Business Luncheon and Awards. Zimbabwean songstress Feli Nandi received a hero's welcome at the Robert Gabriel International Airport after proving her worth while representing the country at the 2-day MTN Bushfire Festival that was held in Eswatini.
It was one of the biggest stages in my life that I've ever performed. I was so scared, emotions were pretty high, but we managed to pull through. And we had some Zimbabweans coming out to support us, so that was also really amazing.
Patience Nyakato, SABC News, Harare.
The weather report and forecast up next.
Good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Looking at some of the conditions that we had generally clear skies across much of the country. This led to rather cold morning conditions, especially along the high veld, but the eastern highlands had a bit of cloud, which suppressed the cold conditions over that area, and there was less in terms of ground frost. But it became rather warm by afternoon and became cold again towards evening. These are the clear skies that were over much of the country, with few touches of cloud over the eastern parts because of moisture that drifted in from the northeast, but nothing significant in terms of cloud cover was recorded over there. For much of this week, we're expecting generally clear skies leading to rather cold morning conditions, but as we get into Thursday, we're expecting a bit of clouds over the southern parts leading to cooler conditions over those areas. But for tonight, we're expecting very cold conditions along the high veld where we've got single digits. This should lead to moderate ground frost in areas such as Matopos and Gweru, whilst Masvingo and Marondera have got slight ground frost. And we're expecting very warm conditions as those cold morning conditions clear up as the day progresses, leading to warmer conditions mostly in the lower 20s for much of the country, except for the Zambezi and Limpopo Valley. We're expecting a few 28s and 27s according to this forecast. But for Bulawayo, you're expecting more of the 25s. The morning temperature in the 9s there, single digits, making it rather cold in the morning. Same for Matopo, we're expecting ground frost to occur in some places. For Gwanda, we're expecting a morning temperature of about 10 degrees Celsius, going as high as 24, 7 and 24 for Gweru, making it rather cold in the morning but warmer by afternoon. Same for Masvingo, we're expecting cold conditions in the morning but it becomes warmer as the day progresses. Nyanga, chances of ground frost projected over there as the cloud also clears off. And for Marondera, we're expecting also cold morning conditions but it becomes warmer as the day progresses. Harare 23 by afternoon but very cold in the morning. Same for Kwekwe, we're expecting 8s in the morning and a maximum of 26, making it rather warm by afternoon. For Kadoma 27 by afternoon, and it gets cooler as we get later on in the week. For Chino, we're expecting a bit of cold conditions in the morning. Same for Victoria Falls, we're expecting a maximum of 27. 27 also for Lupane, making it rather warm but very cold in the morning. And for Bindura, we're expecting it to be cold in the morning, becoming warmer by afternoon. For Kariba, we're expecting mild conditions in the morning, with a few 15s thereabout, but becoming warmer by afternoon with 27s and 28 for much of this week. That's all for our weather and forecast. Been a pleasure, Zimbabwe. I'm James Kama Jr. for the Met Department.
Thank you so much to the Met Department for the weather report and forecast. With that in mind, that brings us to the end of tonight's bulletin. But before we leave, our video of the week is Trending Tariro by Gemma featuring Feli Nandi. Have a good night.
Good night.